Team Production.
Welcome back to another Christine Productions here. And I want to shout out to all the fans, man. I want to say what's up, guys. Welcome back to the show here. And Mixing Pro Soca in the box here. Soca Starter Pack. Make the hit. $30 buy this course, get top of line. Also in Course Craft, you want to learn how to mix Pro Dancehall in the box, mixing Pro Afrobeat in the box, mixing Pro Reggae in the box. And be sure to go on my site here, prestigeproduction.website.com, and get my latest old school gold edition killer dancehall pack from the 1990s and 2000 beyond. So let's get right down into the show here. But today we're going to talk about mixing soca chains here. And I'm going to show you how we can bring that balance and separation here and how we mix soca here. So let's get right down into it here. So welcome to the show, guys. I know I haven't done a video for a good time here, but was having a little bit technical issue here, but we're getting things underway here. So let's get right down into it. So let's go into the soca chains here. So we have a session here, and we have a couple of elements here. We have a leads, and we got some guitars here. Now, a lot of producers sometimes struggle with getting their soca rhythms to be balanced and mixed well. But I'm going to show you guys how to get that balance, to have the instrument to have a good relationship with each other, and get things all sounding nice and professional. So let's start off with normally I go on the kick drums here. Now this is a raw session here, so there's nothing processed here. So I'm going to start off with the drum section here. Soca is a style that is comprised of drums, percussion, a lot of energetic elements here. So let's isolate the drums here. So I have a snare here, so I'm going to route that to my drum bus here. I have some live drums here. I'm just gonna quickly give that a little bit of rename. Let's see what I got here. Here we have the kick here. I'm gonna send that to my drum bus. All my hi-hats here, I'm gonna send that to the drums. A lot of live hats, send it to the drum bus. Now, I already have my buses pre-created here for every single song I do, whichever artist sends me, female or female. I have my session, my template ready, so I can change or maneuver if I need more effects and more control. Basically everything goes to the drums, music goes to music, vocals go to the vocals box. So so this is what we have here. Have some live drums and some electronic drums here. So I'm gonna route the drums to drum sub. Let's go to the drum sub here. So let me start off with the kick drum here. I'm going to go ahead and find that kick drum here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my SSL channel strip here. Pull that up here. And I'm going to go down to maybe the 50s here. I'm going to give it a little bit of weight. maybe pull down a little bit of 500 here. Push a little bit more of that beater. Add a little bit of compression here so we get a little bit more tighter feel. So it's off, on. And this is why I normally use channel strips here. But we could chain that with other plugs. So I'm doing subtle compression here. Let's go to the snare drum here. So I'm going to go down. Let's go to the Pro Q3 here. Pro Q3. I'm going to add a little bit of vibe to the snare here. Maybe a little bit of body. So that's before, after. So I'm bringing the snare drum a little bit closer, a little bit more warm. When you hear people talk about making their tracks warm, it's making a little bit more buff, a little bit more body. Now let's see what we got with the hi-hats here. Okay, I'm seeing we might be needing a little bit of saturation here. So I'm gonna pull up the NLS here. I'm gonna crank the drive up so I get some analog harmonics here. And let's see, I've got a second. Have the live hats here. I'm gonna pull the NLS on that one as well. This is like putting a little bit of salt and black pepper on your drum cooking here. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the slate rack here, because now I'm feeling the hi-hats, I'm feeling the kick. Now I need a little bit more energy on the snare drum here. So I'm going to start off with a blank slate here. So I'm going to go down to my slate here. I'm going to put up the VCC channel here. Let's push the input. Push the drive. Getting some of the subtle difference here. I'm going to bring in the virtual mix bus here, so see if we get a little bit more. Before. And I'm feeling that we might need a little bit of compression on this snare. So this is the before, and that's the after. The release, I'm gonna set it to fast. Pro tip, guys, if you're not sure which way is the release going for analog compressors, look at the light here. Look at the GR, the gain reduction. If I push the knob to the right, the light is staying blinked. That's telling me that's a slow release. It's going to take long to release the snare. Push it to the left, I'm getting fast. Attack, I'm going to push it to the right. That slow attack, push it to the left. It's going to grab the signal more. And here's the ratio here. Let's make it go to, let's go 4:1 here. So both of these channels is adding a little bit of meat to the snare drum here. Now I'm going to bring in the live drums here. So So I can tell we're needing some grit here. So I'm gonna go down to the channel strip here. I'm gonna pull up the SSL here. We're gonna need this to sound a little bit more thicker here. So let me go to my distortion rack here. I'm gonna put up something like the decapitator here from Sound Toys. Push the drive up here. And that is feeding to the drum bus here. So I'm gonna go to the drum bus. And I think the overall drums might need a little bit more lift. Let me go back down to the, I'm gonna back off on the low end on the live drums here. I'm gonna route the kick to the drum sub. And I'm gonna feed that into my parallel compression here. So I'm gonna pull up the slate. I'm sorry, the SSL compressor here. Pull the fader down. I'm gonna send the entire drum kit through a drum comp. Now you're hearing that punch coming in here. Now I want to control the entire drum kit here. So I'm going to pull up my chain here on the F6. Add a little bit of sweetening to the entire drum kit here. So I'm feeling that snare. Now you can hear this rhythm is getting very solid here. Let's bring in the bass line here. I'm going to pull up the slate. See if we can add some saturation to this bass here. Let's go to the distressor here. Off. Add a little bit of grit. Back off on the attack. Don't want to grab too much of dynamics here. I'm going to pull up an EQ. Play around with mid-range here. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to soften up the attack here on this kick drum. Back off on the threshold a bit. And let's move down to the guitar here. I'm going to put up EQ here. And get some top end on this guitar. Now, when it comes to soca music here, guitar like these, you want to get that wide spread sometimes, so when the fans or the listeners are listening to their headphones, you can get that depth here. So we're going to try a little bit of the dimension here. Or you can pull up any chorus plugin. Let's get down to it. Off, on. And this is normally my starting point here when mixing soca music. Let's go down to the other sound here. Compress the live drums a little bit more. Now this sound here, this keyboard here, let's go right there. Let's put that through a reverb so we can get a little bit of space. I'm gonna pull up my reverb here. A little bit of Valhalla going on here. Let me send that through the reverb so we can get a little bit of dimension here. Creating that mood, you know. Let's bring in your instruments in here. I'm gonna boost a little bit of bass here. Trap bell here. About 40 dB. Let's go to the next sound here. Okay, so we have this lead instrument by itself. It already has reverb on it, so just gonna do some EQ here. I'm gonna use a stock EQ here. Check out some of the mid-range here so it doesn't clash with the supporting synth here. Gonna try a little bit of delay here. Maybe a 8 note here. So just by using delay and reverb, I'm creating depth and I'm creating movement in this track here. And these are the kind of vibe you hear when you listen to Nyla Blackman, Kiss the Band, Marshall Destra. There's a lot of engineering works that go into the effects and creating a movement in rhythms, especially soca. So let's see how it sounds with the rest of the instruments. Now let's go to the other sound up here. Now what I need from this keyboard, it has space, it has vibe, it has reverb. I want a little bit more hard playing, like the musician is really pushing down on the keys. So to do that, I'm gonna pull up a smack here, and I'm gonna increase the attack. I'm gonna bring down the output a little bit. Off, on. And then finally we have the last sound here on the lead. Now this is just a kind of rough. We're getting things in the ballpark here. We're getting the instruments to separate, and we're using these different chains of plugs to give them dimension in their own space here. Now I want this lead. Let's say I was giving this rhythm to Patrice or Nyla. I want this sound to stick right where the vocal is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little bit of modulation here. I'm going to go and add the same chorus here. Maybe a little bit of delay. I'm gonna put up the L2 limiter here. You want to get these sounds to sound as natural as possible. You don't need to do a whole lot of compression. It might mess up in the mix. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of limiter just to control a little bit of level that's coming up here. So I'm gonna bring in the track here. Now the lead is still quiet here and my fader is at 0, so I'm going to add an NLS here. I'm going to push a little bit of drive here so I can get a bit more presence here. How about here? Maybe a little bit of EQ here on this chain. Now I'm going to be adding some top end EQ here. So I'm adding a little bit of top end EQ here. Bypass. Just so we can get a little bit more spread, a little bit top end here. Now I'm going to play back the track here. I'm going to go through each fader and make a slight adjustment so we can get a bit more tonal balance here. So let's go ahead and do that. Guitar a little bit up. So to recap, guys, what we did here are just taking a simple soca beat here and giving each instrument its own room, its own suite, and giving it its own space so it contributes to the overall sound. So to recap, what we did here, and this is why soca chains always changes. We get a little bit of dimension. We felt like we need a little bit more space with this lead sound. We added the L2 just to control the volume, doesn't go too loud, just in case Nadia or Nyla Blackman may use this track. and they're singing. This lead sound stays right beside their vocal, doesn't get in the way. We use the LNS here to get a little bit more presence in the lead. And we went down to the second sound here. We added some reverb for a space, a little bit more feeling of somebody playing live, a little bit more hammer action. That's why we use the smack, to put a little smack on it. We simply took an EQ and added a little bit more hi-hats, high-end sound, a little bit of delay to create movement in this lead. And that delay takes it around from your ear, left to right. The guitar itself, add a little bit more space with the dimension D, a little bit more EQ. And the rest is pretty much straightforward. We add some body and punch to the kick drums and a little bit of parallel compression on the drum bus. We add a little bit more weight on the bass guitar here. We added some saturation of the FG stress.